So if folks in the room could take your seats, and we're going to get started. Here in DWR, we have a policy of starting our meetings with a, I'm not sharing.
Safety Scouts advice. Map.
Stand by.
Scenario. A stranger approaches you with a map, pretending to either need directions or to sell you his map. He, or an accomplice, uses the distraction to steal from your pockets or bag.
Yeah. How come
Safety
the audio
Scouts
isn't working?
advice. Map pickpocket. Scenario. A stranger approaches.
Supposed to bring the audio into the.
It's coming.
Okay, at
Safety
DWR,
Scouts
we have a policy of starting our meetings with a safety message. So here's our safety message for GIS Day.
Map pickpocket. Scenario. A stranger approaches you with a map, pretending to either need directions or to sell you his map. He, or an accomplice, uses the distraction to steal from your pockets or bag. Advice. If a stranger tries to capture your attention with a map while also entering your personal space, look around to see if there is an accomplice and be aware of your valuables.
Okay, so now that we have our safety in mind.
This winter, London's been invaded by a new breed of criminal. Pickpockets have swamped the capital's transport system.
The young pick.
Thank you. Now I want back to the agenda. Yes, okay. Thank you for your patience. So good morning, and thank you for taking the time to join us for California Natural Resources Agency GIS Day, presented by the Department of Water Resources Enterprise GIS Committee. I'm Jane Schaefer-Kramer, the person who sends you all those emails. I'm a GIS analyst and chair of the DWR GIS Training and Outreach Subcommittee. This is the 8th year that we are presenting GIS Day for our DWR GIS users, and the 4th year that we have extended it to include the various departments, commissions, conservancies, councils, and boards of the agency. And each year we try something a little different. This year, I think we've put together an interesting and I hope lively and interactive program. The main reason that we do this, or at least the main reason that I do this, is to provide an opportunity for the agency GIS community to physically gather, meet one another, and have conversations about our work, our careers, and the data and the tools we need to accomplish our missions. I encourage all of you to take advantage of this gathering, and during the breaks, resist the temptation to stare at your smartphones and introduce yourself to someone you don't know. So that's the whole point of this. And just a few logistical things. Exits, if you hear the fire alarm, get out of the building. You can exit the way you came in. There's an exit through here. Ignore that sign that says warning, the doors are alarmed. You won't set off an alarm going through the door. You go through the double doors here, and if you turn right, you'll find an exit. If you turn left, you'll find an exit. Restrooms are through these double doors and to the left. And then if you go through the double doors and to the right is room 133, and that's a conference room where we've got some refreshments set up during the breaks. And if you can buy coffee or drinks at the little lobby shop in when you go out the main door, you came and turn to the right, there's a little shop there. But we ask that you don't bring that stuff back into the auditorium. Just water is okay here. So And now that we got that stuff out of the way, I'm going to kick things off by introducing the chair of the Department of Water Resources GIS, Enterprise GIS Committee, Greg Smith. Greg is a program manager with our Division of Statewide Integrated Water Management. And he's in charge of the group called the Water Data Library. So, and as you all may have noticed if you read the program, one of the theme for this morning's session is really data stewardship, and data sharing. So I'm going to turn it over to Greg now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I know that there's more than just DWR here, but can I get a show of hands? Who's from DWR? So I kind of have this. Oh, great. Thank you. So I want to talk a little bit about the Enterprise GIS Committee, DWR.
Use the mic.
Oh, man. Can you hear me better this way? How's that? Okay. DWR has an Enterprise GIS Committee. Data stewardship and GIS at DWR is really a voluntary thing. We don't have a group that's a GIS shop like other departments or other agencies. We've basically come together. We believe that GIS is important. Stewarding that data should be an asset, just like any other asset that we try and manage in the department, whether it's our people or our hydrologic data or our finances. So we've tried to set up policies and procedures for people to voluntarily steward the data. And we have, you wouldn't happen to have the website, DWR GIS website. Can you get that for me, please? So we have a portal where we post most of our notes, most of our workings, dwrgis.water.ca.gov. Christina is very helpful. Thank you. She's getting that up right now. So if you are interested, even if you're not in DWR, you should take a look at this because it has things like our data standards. It has things like standard contract language that if you have a contract with someone for LiDAR data or for some GIS data, you can put this in your contract. We hope you put it in your contract so it comes back with the standards that we would find, we would want. Greg Twist. Greg, please raise your hand. If you don't know Greg, he manages the image server. He also helps us a lot with our GIS environment and putting things, data sets where they go. We have a development and production environment. Aaron, would you raise your hand? If you don't know Aaron, Aaron is the keeper of a JavaScript template. It was developed by Wyatt Pearsall, who was one of our colleagues a couple of years ago. He's left because it was so good, he got a job offer from somewhere else, literally. But it is a template that you can use to hook a data set into your own web map if you want. So that's free and available to anyone. Doesn't have to be in DWR or GIS. You could be in a program and do it yourself. It's pretty simple. So what has the GIS done for you lately besides those things? Jane is, as you know, she puts on GIS Day every year. We also try and manage tickets to the Esri User Council or Esri User Conference every year. In July, we have trainings that we put on. So if you are interested in an intro to GIS training and you have some money, we'll try and arrange for trainers. It basically takes 2 trainers, 2 days, so it's not really expensive to set up. Maybe it's a whole 40 hours of time. We have developed some spatial data standards. If you're interested in those, you can email me or Jane. Website. We'll give you our email addresses. Happy to share the spatial data standards with you. They are DWR centric, so it essentially assumes that you go through the Enterprise GIS Council, so that may not always be appropriate for you, but the specific metadata standards might be good. We have one of the non-GIS things that we have sort of bled into is we've started developing a list of organizations. We've found that people need to refer to agencies, organizations, departments, whatever. There is no standard list. And it would be really nice if you could say, search for everything that Fish and is doing, whether it's projects or GIS layers or whatever, or Delta Stewardship Council. And because there's no standard list, it would be really, really hard to do that. Gary Darling tells me, how many different ways did OPR have LA County? It's like 120 different ways, maybe more than 120 different ways, or was it LADWP? I don't. Thank you. In a single database, there were 120 different ways to identify the County of Los Angeles. That's absurd. We don't need that in this day and age, right? So if you're interested in a master list of organizations, I'm more than willing to share it with you. It's something that's non-GIS related, but you might also be able to use it. Christina and Aaron and Siren, who hopefully is on the phone. Damn. Sorry, Siren is in our South Central Region office. They're managing a data set for water agencies all throughout the state. So if you're interested in that, contact us. Sort of future-ish. 3 after? Because I'm rambling. Leo needs some time. Perfect. Sort of for future issues, what we're hoping to do is it has a DWR Atlas where we put all of our vector data. We're hoping to get something for raster data put up. We're hoping to take and have a web server just for feature classes that are in the right projection for web services, so they don't have to hit our DWR Atlas. If you want to do web stuff, they're already translated and the performance will be better there. We're hoping to, we'll probably start to test and migrate against Windows 10 here in the future, so we'll look at that. We need volunteers. If you're interested, please contact me or Jane and she can let you know, or even better yet, Danny. Danny, you want to raise your hand? Thank you, because he's going to be the one helping to test that. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm sure it is. And then the other thing that I hope to sort of emphasize for the day that we're going to try and do is I'd like to start at least an internal DWR process to develop an enterprise process guide so that spatial data in DWR, if it's used in any kind of official publication, gets put into our DWR Atlas, which is our single authoritative data source for spatial data. It's available to anyone in the department. And it's going to be many years. These things take a long, long time, the bureaucratic. But it would sort of confirm and cement the idea that spatial data really is an asset to take care of. And I would encourage you all, as people that work in GIS, to become data stewards. I'm not talking to the person next to you. I really am talking to you. Become data stewards. You may think, oh, my program doesn't have any spatial data. I can't steward any data. That's not true. You could steward data from outside the department. Your program may use it. Sometimes it takes a little bit more work than others, but if we all work together, hopefully we can make the department more efficient and more effective. And because it's a new process, sort of the first ones in the door get to choose what they want to do, and they don't have to coordinate so much with other programs. So it's a good opportunity. I would encourage you to become stewards. I really, really would. And I'm going to turn it over to Leo, who works in DTS. And if you have any questions, catch me.
Does anybody have any quick questions right now for Greg? Okay, he'll be around. Thanks. Now we've got Leo Anguiano, who's the chief of our relatively new, just about a year old Enterprise GIS services shop within DWR, but their mission is also to provide services to all of Resources Agency. So here's Leo.
Not so new anymore. Hello, everybody. Leo Anguiano, and I am manager of the Enterprise GIS Services Office, CNRA and DWR. Actually, last year, some of you were here when I gave a little talk and overview about this. We were a unit back then. Now we're an office, so we have grown, but in name only. So, yeah, it's still growing. So, I'm the manager, Leo Anguiano, and I have a new GIS business analyst, and I believe she is here. Kate, if you're here. Oh, okay. Well, then Kate is our new GIS business analyst. She is from the California Energy Commission, and she's been here for a couple of months, and we're very excited to have her because she's very, very good. So too bad she's not here. Then we have Mateo Yanes, who's the senior programmer analyst. He's over there, Mateo. He is from the Department of Conservation. He's been here close to a year now. And of course, Nick Perez, who is well over there. He's our solutions architect and software engineer. He is the one that comes up with a solution that we just can't come up with. He'll come up with it some way or somehow. And Danny Luong, who a lot of you have known, is our enterprise architect. He is he's the historical archival knowledge person that we go to. So these are the services that we provide. And again, it's both for DWR and for CNRA organizations. We provide enterprise GIS architecture design and administration. A lot of this is the administration part of it is, of course, for DWR, the infrastructure, all the geodatabase servers that they use here, how to maximize their efficiency, look and when they have more needs. And the architectural design pieces for those organizations that maybe want to get into GIS, we provide some guidance and consultation in terms of how to get started, and even provide some GIS server installation that we can do for them. The enterprise geospatial data management, we're not much more into we're not subject matter experts, but we work with DWR standards to provide to other organizations as well, and also for capacity and sharing and how they can do that. And actually, we have undertaken a stewardship role. My staff went through the stewardship week, so we are now the stewards for the facilities layer. I think that's the proper name of it, the DWR facilities layer. So we are going to be hosting that and ensuring that that's up to date and start to maintaining that, because there's really no other program that has that. GIS web service development, so we help in web service design, development, and hosting of web services. The geospatial business solutions development, it's the idea of any type of solution for the workflow. And web application development, that may be part of that workflow. And then any type of map information product development, whether it be paper maps or some type of cartography output. Some of our current customers, of course, Department of Water Resources is always our customer. Ongoing assistance of trouble tickets that we have for the ESRI developments of the software, the maintenance of it, anything related to the infrastructure, we take care of all of that. We're also evaluating the GIS, the DWR infrastructure in terms of the servers. We're going through and figuring out is there a better way to architect that infrastructure to the newest standards and best industry practices. So that's a project that we're undertaking to make sure that all of the services that are being served out don't impact each other. So that's one of the big things that we're doing right now. I'm working with Greg and DWR staff to start creating map services for the Atlas data set layers that are being promoted. So we can start having a sense of standards for as an example, if you're going to be using a data set that everybody's going to use it, well, the same symbology and those kind of things, so that it's across the board. Everybody agrees on one thing. It's going to be quite a tackle, but we're starting with the easy ones, the general ones. And of course, providing best practices for the publishing of web services. So my team is putting together some standards of, okay, what is those best practices when you're going to publish web services? We're also doing California. Another customer is the California Energy Commission. We're installing ArcGIS server in their environment. They're actually going to be operating it, maintaining it. They have a small GIS unit, so we're doing knowledge transfer, and it's both a development and production environment. We're halfway through, and it's been a good project in terms of doing that knowledge transfer that is key. We want to make sure they, at the end of this project, are able to maintain it and make sure how to use the environment. So that's a key thing and it's going very well. Let's see. Oh, the California Native American Heritage Commission. That's a project where we're assisting in the data collection for tribal boundaries under legislative mandate. So currently, we are working with them in providing tools on how to best do their collection of the information in terms of they're going out there, meeting with the tribes and trying to update the boundaries. Sometimes it's just getting them paper maps, because when they go out there, there's no connection to anything. So we provide them that help and assistance. And all of this is going to be the collection for a new system, the Native American Land Information System, where it's going to be to upgrade their current workflow of how they do their business. This is a project that is done. We assisted the California Tahoe Conservancy in the creation of map web services, both editable and open to the web service for the public. So that was another where web hosting was, and web service creation was part of our service to them. Right now, we are continuing to work on our public CNRA GIS web portal, where people are going to go for geospatial data, applications, and information. It's going to be open to the public and for all CNRA organizations. And at the same time, redesigning our GIS services office LifeRay site, which is mostly for DWR staff right now to provide sharing of collaboration of information. Again, the third bullet item is the health check, and that's really what I was talking about in terms of looking at the infrastructure again, and the architecture and the design, and figuring out if there's is a best way to do things. So we're actually working with we'll start working with Esri to do some type of health check on that. And the template that I believe Greg had mentioned, we're looking at that and seeing if there's a better way to look at the code and see if it's better ways of doing things and making it easier for the department. So that's one of the things that Mateo, the application developer, he's looking at, working with Aaron and some other folks to try to make sure, okay, is the code behind that, is it the optimal way of doing things? Again, my name is Leo Anguiano, and if you have any questions, we're here to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Any questions for Leo?
How will this play on the state portal, state geospatial portal? How will the water resources portal interact with the state GIS portal?
Well, the state, I'm in discussion with Scott Gregory, and in the state GIS portal mostly is they take care of the layers and information that is going to go across statewide in terms of other organizations outside of CNRA. We're focusing mostly on CNRA level organizations. So there will be, we're going to try to figure ways to connect if there is something at the state level to harvest that, if it's something that CNRA is interested in having inside our portal. So yeah, we're focusing mostly on CNRA level organizations and the data that those organizations, commissions need. Versus, it's a fine line though, because that's something that Scott and I are going to be working together to figure out where is that line where they host the data, we host it. So there are times that we're going to bring over some of the data because it's more logical to be at the CNRA level. All right, thank you.
Okay, and next up, we have a guest who's not from the state of California agency, but she's very important person because most of us at some point in our work use products that are developed and hosted by the U.S. Geological Survey. Carol Ostergren is the California and Nevada Geospatial Liaison. Did I get that right? Good enough. Okay. So she's going to be talking about the 3D elevation initiative and maybe some other stuff. So, thanks, Carol.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to thank you for inviting me to your GIS Day. I'm really honored to be here. Am I the only Fed in the room? Is that, yeah, that's a little scary to me, but.
We still like you.
Thank you. Anyway, it's nice to be among friends. I'm happy to see some folks I haven't seen for a while. So what I want to talk to you today about is how USGS has focused its LiDAR program. The USGS has really focused down due to resource constraints to two major data layers. That's the National Hydrography Data Set and elevation. And I'm not going to talk about the NHD today because we have a good start on that in our state now. So I will be focusing on LiDAR. With the help of the Office of Management and Budget, we have, over the past 5 years, really defined the requirements, the need for LiDAR across the country. So we have defined the life cycle, and that has become our 3-DEP program. So I'm going to flip pretty rapidly through the next few slides. What I'm going to do is just show you from a national perspective the kinds of applications that LiDAR will inform. And I would also venture a guess that Resources Agency and Department of Water Resources, all of the other departments contained within Resources Agency have programs that touch on all of these specific programmatic business uses. Certainly being able to visualize a point cloud has many applications within the agency. Agriculture, that's a big deal in our state. I think that, and I do think that this is an untapped and not understood potential market out there. Issues related to agriculture, like the subsidence of the Central Valley due to groundwater extraction. Those kinds of issues are very important to our state. Sonoma County has just acquired quality level 1 LiDAR. I'll talk in a minute about the quality levels, but the wine industry is one of the major drivers for that data collection in Sonoma County. Geologic mapping, near and dear to my heart. Geologic hazards. We all know we have those hazards here. Energy resources. This is an up and coming application for LiDAR technologies. That bottom graphic is a screenshot of the LA County solar roofing program. Infrastructure and construction management, that's particularly important in our levee and dam system and for coastal mitigation. Aviation, navigation, and safety, again, viewshed and other uses. So we've built this program after 5 years of study, and some of you participated in the our National Enhanced Elevation Assessment, which took 5 years to fully understand. And out of that process, we identified about 600 mission critical needs for LIDAR across the country. That was information that came from 35 federal agencies, 50 states and territories, and private industry, academia, across the board. That was how the need fleshed out. The program is designed to address those needs, and as the program is defined, will return us a 5-to-1 investment on our investment. We call it a call for community action because it depends on partnerships. The federal government, the U.S. Geological Survey, the federal government, we cannot afford this program by ourselves, so it really requires partnership. By identifying and coordinating projects in large areas, we think we can recognize a 25% cost efficiency. And then the program also calls for an 8-year refresh cycle. So those 600 mission critical activities kind of mapped into 27 major business uses. And this chart shows the top 10 business uses and both conservative and potential benefits for a coordinated LIDAR acquisition for the country. Again, the numbers that came out of the California work that we did are incorporated in this national picture. So just a bit on quality level. We determined that quality level 2, which is 2 points per square meter at a 10-centimeter accuracy, meets the most requirements across those 600 mission-critical activities with the best return on investment. A lot of groups prefer Q1 LIDAR. We'll see that the state of Oregon has a program for quality level 1 LIDAR. The program will support quality level 2 LIDAR. And those numbers off to the right are the costs for California. So to build out a Q2 LIDAR base for the state of California would cost $53 million. Not an easy number to come up with. So, as I mentioned, we did 5 years of requirements gathering and planning, and now we're at the point where we have launched the program. We have published a lot of reports, done a lot of number crunching, a lot of analysis to come up with the quality level and the costs and the 8-year time frame. We have been reasonably successful in collecting up federal money. So we have contributions from NRCS, from FEMA, coming from Army Corps and NOAA and some other federal agencies as well. We're now in our second round of broad agency announcements. That's our mechanism for getting money either in the door or out the door for that LIDAR data collection. We've published a new base specification in cooperation with ASPRS. We have developed tools, and I'll show you those, a couple of those in a second. We've built an infrastructure to house and maintain and serve out all of this data. And we have identified new products coming out of National Map. We have retired the 3-meter DEM and are initiating a 1-meter DEM. So one of the tools that we built is our interagency elevation inventory. And what this does, and It's never current, it's never completely up to date, but it's the best we have so far, and we update this twice a year. So that's where it's sitting right now. The gray areas show areas where LiDAR has been collected, but it doesn't meet the 3-depth spec. In other words, it's LiDAR that's been collected over the past 10 years to that kind of old, what's called the FEMA spec. So the dark green areas are where LiDAR meets the 3-depth needs and specifications, needs of the users. And what I will point out here is that the eastern seaboard, the Gulf Coast, the Mississippi River, those areas have been hit by massive hurricanes. So they have seen the investment of millions of federal dollars to collect that data. We don't have that scale of disaster out here. So until Cascadia rises, we probably won't see that level of disaster. So we have to make a patchwork quilt from our little tiny disasters, our rim fires, our droughts, our Napa earthquakes, things like that. So it's hard. It's not going to be easy to get there. But that's the general picture. So our first round of funding in FY15, we awarded about 30 projects across the country, one for California, LA Basin. So those new projects are now in work. Those are shown in the bright green. So where are we in this year's funding cycle? About 2 weeks ago, the proposal window closed. So those proposals are now being evaluated and scored. And we should know, around mid-December, which ones are successful. I think there were about 40 that were submitted. So this graphic shows you, if you can see those tiny green hatchet areas, that was what is currently submitted in this funding round. We have 3 little blobs showing for California. I know there were a couple more that were also submitted. So that's, and I don't know where most of those proposals come from. Right, and I don't know who submitted that. I don't know if it was the Forest Service or the Park Service, or it was not Shasta County or the counties up there. Yeah. Well, what these, okay, the question was if these were going to be annual, is that? Yeah, we have a process every year, a window, which we hope will be, the same window every year so that people can prepare for it. It takes a lot of preparation to, especially at the state and local level, to gather up funding and that kind of thing. So we hope this will be continuous. We were actually on schedule this year. It worked out pretty darn well. So again, the program is defined as an 8-year program. So we want to fill out the country in 8 years. Good luck with that. Did that answer your question? Okay, great. So the next thing I want to show is, and apologies for this messy map, but the messiness is what counts here. If we look at the Delta area there, what this is our C-Sketch viewer. This was built by NOAA, and this helps in the planning and decision-making process. So this gives people the opportunity to post up their areas of interest. Doesn't have to have any funding attached, but what it does is it gives people a platform to understand what other people need and want. Hopefully it gives them a point of contact that they can call as the process moves forward. So, and the important thing here are the overlaps of the footprints. So where, and I'm going to pick on Joel Dudas, where Joel submitted his area of interest for the Delta area. We can see that that overlaps with requirements from NRCS, the Army Corps, Park Service, U.S. Geological Survey, and others. So that overlap is scored. So that becomes part of the criteria for the decision making. So we think that one will do well. So there is a mechanism for anyone to post up their wants and needs, and it's not really fair to draw a box around the whole state. So we really want to, because we're a big state, we really have to target what we're doing here efficiently, and of course, eventually find the money for it. So I would encourage folks to do that. I'm going to encourage SACOG to use this for their upcoming LiDAR consortium. Another thing we're doing is collecting stories. So if you have stories about how you use LiDAR data, we would love to hear those. This helps us make our case to new communities of use. We're starting to reach out more to the pipeline industry, construction management, those kinds of industries that we know collect and use LiDAR data. So we would love to hear your stories. So this is a slide that probably a lot of you have seen before. This is just kind of my catch-all list of what I think to happen in the state of California to go forward with LiDAR coordination. So, you know, again, talking about stewardship, this is undetermined for the state of California. So not that it would need to be a full-on thing, but you know, it could be phased, it could be partial, it could be whatever you want. So with that covers what I wanted to mention. I will add that I know it's possible to get 12 state agencies in a room together to talk about LiDAR. I have done that before. So it is possible to get agencies together, you know, friends from Caltrans, high-speed rail, you know, all of the other agencies out there that will be acquiring LiDAR and need LiDAR for their work. So there's my contact info. There is the website where you can find everything that I've talked about. Thanks.
So, Carol, there's a question from online. This was from earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you. Is there a program to obtain NHD data of higher resolution than current data acquisition? This is from Ramesh Gautam. He's interested in NHD 3D data of 10 feet or less.
We are in the process of developing the NHD Plus, which will help with that. In terms of higher resolution, you know, the scale of the product is a 1 to 24,000 scale. Where we have partnerships that require and can build that at a higher resolution, we will do that. So I know that's kind of a non-answer, but that's all we got.
Ramesh and anyone else who's interested in this, the American Water Resources Association is having their biennial GIS conference next July, and it'll be in Sacramento this year. And I've talked to Dan Jokic of Esri, who's the conference chair, and he's putting together a session on NHD Plus. So keep your eyes out for that. And we're also working on possibly setting up an associated training workshop on the NHD Plus. So watch your email for further news and check the AWRA website.
One more question from online, sorry. So LiDAR data obtained from USGS is free for agencies like DWR?
Absolutely. It's all in the public domain.
Hi, Carol. This is Liz Van Wachtendonk with the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. I'm curious if there's any interactions that are already ongoing related to the tree mortality emergency that the governor declared in terms of acquiring LiDAR for those areas severely affected by the drought.
I am not aware. Is anyone in the room aware? No? Okay.
Carol can hear me, that's what counts. UC Davis and Water Resources hosted a summit on drought applications. It had an unmanned aircraft focus, but I think that the data and information to inform precision agriculture were central. And so that's an important connection to make as well.
Right, and I can say a little bit about UAV, UAV acquired data. It doesn't really have a place in our program yet, just because we're national in scope. And plus, you know, if you're not putting a LiDAR collector on that drone, then, you know, there's issues there. So, yeah. Sure, Carol. You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to post these PowerPoints online on our DWR GIS website later on, so if you want to check back and get all that information. We ran a little bit over, so we're going to take a break now, and as I said, restrooms, go through here and go through the double doors and then turn left. If you go out that way and try to walk past the security guards, they may make you sign in, which is no big deal, but just so you know. And there are some refreshments in room 133 through the double doors and to the right. And try to be back here as close to 10 as you can. Thanks.